Okay, today is a Islamic holiday. Is one of its holiest days today. So I'm going to speak a little bit of Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi was labeled by the West as a dictator. Okay? When Gaddafi was there, one of the things he did was he didn't take foreign loans. Now, whereas if you take Oxford and Cambridge, their economics are sophisticated, mathematically sophisticated, but what they are saying is for us to take loans. Right? That means they want to trap us. That's their economy. So Gaddafi's economics is much better than what is taught in Oxford and Cambridge, although Oxford and Cambridge are they may be more sophisticated. So don't fall into the trap. Now, Gaddafi used to give loans to his country. He didn't take foreign loans. He used to give loans to his country. That is Islamic economics. He didn't charge interest, and he had free education, free health. And one of the stupid things he did was he surrendered to the West. He thought the West will accommodate. No. Another thing, he gave some 30,000 scholarship to the West. And that I believe the West used to destroy him. One of the methods West used, they used these people who went to study there to brainwash them. Right? Now in Libya, it is said that women are sold for slavery and prostitute. You didn't have that record. So Gaddafi might have been a dictator, but if you take one of the Israeli ministers, say that you have to kill 30 Palestinians every day so that they get. So West says that they are against dictators, but they support genocide. So dictators no, genocide yes. That is the West policy. Okay, now Scott Bassett declared about the D-Day, Deliverance Day, and that is when the sanctions are going to start on Iran. So D-Day means this is supposed to be associated with Hitler's war of colonization of Greater Europe. Okay, I use a different terminology. You people call it Second World War. So one reporter asked when is the D-Day. He couldn't say as far as the sanctions on Iran, he couldn't give a. Now lot of countries are rejecting American bonds. They are getting then Donald Trump had tariffs on Canada. Then Canada said, Mark Carney said we are going to have tariff. Then Donald Trump postponed those tariffs, right? Tirubadu tariff till January 1st. Why? Because he wants to bypass the American midterm elections. So America is cornered every part. Now Iran is integrated into the Chinese and the Russian payment system, so Iran doesn't have to use the American dollar. Americans are going to use something like called the mother of all sanctions, and any country which deals with Iran, Americans are going to put sanctions. So what the Americans are trying to do is they are trying to destroy their reserve fiat currency, because then the world will break into two parts. People who are with Iran and people who are with the American system, and because of the way Donald Trump is treating world countries that a lot of countries want to get out of the American bonds. So America is getting isolated. Maybe Iran will get isolated temporarily. So Iran has to play this game. Actually, Iran's per capita income has come down because of the sanctions, about 47 years sanctions. But if you look at the purchasing power parity, it has come up. So that means Iran has bypassed the Western sanctions. I consider Western sanctions as a kind of near genocide system. If you have a financial system, you kill a lot of people in the world, and you have corruption too. So we will see what is going to happen to the American bond market. And the very fact that Donald Trump is fighting against everybody, Iran, they are fighting against Canada, but with all these faults, people in the South should study Muammar Gaddafi, right? He might have been a dictator. I would not say anything against, but the West use this label dictator when they want to vilify somebody. But he had a very very livable country, right? Free education, free health, loans without interest, and he built a man-made river, and that river was destroyed by NATO. Of course, talking of NATO, Islamic countries are trying to form Islamic NATO, but I think you should not. I'm using that just to give you an idea, because I think the Islamic countries don't like use of NATO, right? They like to use a different terminology, but for conveying power, for give you the message, I call it the Islamic NATO, and they want Iran to join in. But Iran has some hesitance, because Saudi Arabia and some of these Gulf countries are in there, so it could be a way of manipulating. It could be an American way of manipulating the sentiments of the Muslim countries. So ultimately, Iran will join this military alliance, which is also named as Islamic NATO, but the idea, the aim behind that is not very clear, and it could be a ploy by the Western countries to tame Iran by indirect method. Okay, so we touch upon these things, right? If the Western countries don't like people, they label them as dictators, but they are not making any. They hardly make any noise about genocide. So the Western policy is dictators no, genocide yes, genocide maybe, right? And we will watch what is going to happen to the American bond market, especially bond market. Why America can't fight with Canada? Why America postpone the tariff till January 1st? Okay? And we have to watch what is going to happen. The Islamic countries, whether they will try to deceive Iran, or will there be a, because most of these Muslim countries didn't say anything about the genocide in West Asia. So I think people in the South should study more Gaddafi, right? Despite his all faults. And Gaddafi said in one time, he said, if you destroy me, you are going to get a lot of refugees coming to Europe. He warned Europe that he said, I am the person, in a way, holding back refugees coming to Europe. So when the Western countries destroyed Gaddafi, that means opening up the gates of hell for the European countries. And there is also conflicting reports about gold reserves where Libya had. Some reports say that the gold was not lost, others say it was lost. So I will not accept or reject these gold reserves, and because Gaddafi wants to have gold-based currency rather than having this toilet paper economics, right? So we have to study a little bit of Gaddafi, and it's hard to get the information about him. He may be a dictator, but he was not a person who committed genocide.